Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. This is the last review I'm going to talk about now in this bulk of reviews that I've had to talk about today. And it is the one I'm most excited about. So The Hand is coming out again for the following season 3. This has been years in the making. Genuinely. I think it's got to be at least 3 years now. Maybe 4, since I first started watching The Following. And I didn't get a chance to watch season 3 until recently. I decided to re-marathon through the whole thing again, which is why you've got the first 2 reviews, and now we're at season 3. Season 3, as far as I know, as far as I can tell, it is the final season, and I'm glad of that fact. Some shows will go on for too long. They will keep going, they'll keep making series even though the idea is played out. This one knew when to end it, I think. Unless it got cancelled and they were planning a season 4, which is possible. They knew when to end it, and they should have ended it the way they did. When they did. Not the way they did. When they did. This series, this final 3rd season, I was excited for. I didn't know what to expect from. I was interested to see where they went with it, and as I mentioned, I hope I mentioned it in my following season 2 review, I didn't want them to bring Joe Carroll back into this as the villain. That was my main sticking point for this. They had a lot more they could have done with it, and they did. They did so much more with the characters they picked instead. The whole Luke twin thing, where he's like playing both characters, he was incredible in the season. I loved him playing both of these characters in one person, like the split personality thing. I loved it. I thought it was brilliant. And we could have carried a full season with him and like the 2 other people that he had with him, the couple. They were crazy and they were cool, and I loved them as well. We could have carried a full season with them, and we could have had a full season with, and I'm blanking on his name and it really annoys me, Theo. We could have had a full season of just Theo, and I feel like, and I'm hoping this is correct and they didn't get a season 4 cancellation on them, I feel like they could have had a full season of just Luke, and they could have had a full season of just Theo, and they decided, no, we're going to end it on season 3, we're going to shove them together and we're going to try and make it work in one season. If we had a full season of Theo, this would have been an insane way to end the series. The fact he had threats coming from both sides was even better. I'm talking about Ryan Hardy there. The fact he had threats coming from both sides, the fact that Luke was coming one way and we had Theo coming the other way, added a little bit more tension, a little bit more heightened drama in there. Luke never felt like he was gonna be the one to end a series. He was never going to end the reign of Ryan Hardy. As much as I enjoyed the character work and that character and the way he was and the way he acted and like the split personality and stuff like that, he definitely wasn't going to be the one to end it. Theo felt like a credible threat that was going to end the Ryan Hardy saga. And in my opinion, he should have done. Right? As I mentioned before, and I'm probably going to mention again now just to be safe, spoilers ahead on anything that I ever talk about in a review, in a Let's Talk About. So I was watching this, and it took a few episodes for me to get into season 3. It really did take me a few episodes to get into season 3. About episode 5, I'm not saying I got into it about episode 5, but about episode 5, when the credits are rolling, and I noticed James Purefoy's name in the bottom as the credits are rolling, I was like, oh no, they've brought Joe Carroll back. Great. Just what I wanted. I knew this would happen. I just had this feeling that they were going to run out of ideas and they were just going to, screw it, we'll use Joe Carroll again. And they used him in a completely different way, and they did exactly what they needed to. Joe Carroll was in prison. He was a informant for the police because of Strauss, and they needed to get Strauss, and they needed him. They needed some information from him. That was all he was used for, and then they killed him off. Ryan Hardy had to stand and watch it, and I loved it. I loved that aspect, and the whole episode before it, where Joe Carroll is getting into Ryan Hardy's brain, and he's like, "You are doing this. You are me. We are closer than you realise. We are better friends than you realise. We would have been great friends if things were different." And Ryan Hardy admits it. And then Joe Carroll is in his head, and Ryan Hardy's attitude changes, and all of it. The whole as much as I was really worried about them bringing back Joe Carroll, they brought him back and they used him exactly as they should have done, and I loved it. I was so happy about that. The way it changed everything, the way he changed the dynamic of Ryan and the dynamic of the whole season because of the way he was and what he did and how he got into Ryan's head was brilliant, and I loved that. I absolutely loved it. The whole scene, this is why I loved it, because I knew it was the last season, and as far as I know, it's the last season. I'm pretty sure they're not going to make another one now. It's been a few years since they made season 3. There was more drama in it for me because I was like, they can do whatever they want. That, I suppose because I was hoping it was the last season anyway. As for if they went into this knowing they weren't making another season, they can do whatever they want, because it's not like, oh, that character's going to be missing from season 3 now. There was a scene where Max is in the car and I'm going to forget his name now. Max is in the car and that guy gets stabbed by Theo. By Theo? Or is it by Luke? No, it's by Luke. And she's trapped in the car while he's getting stabbed, and she's screaming. She really wants to help him. The love of her life is getting stabbed in front of her. And I was like, they could kill him off right now. They could do that. If they had the balls to do this, they could kill him off. And Max would have to just be like, I can't believe I couldn't do anything to help you. And they didn't pull the trigger on it, and that was fair enough. And it didn't really affect me. I didn't like, oh great, they've ruined this for me. But like, I wish they'd have pulled the trigger on it, because why not? Why not? why not do that? The end of episode 14, right? I know I'm jumping around here. The season was brilliant. They killed off some characters that I was like, I'm surprised you've killed these off. Like when they killed off Emma in season 2, I couldn't believe they killed off Emma in season 2. I couldn't believe they killed Joe Carroll in this season. But yeah, like the end of episode 14, where Theo is literally stood behind Ryan Hardy, and I know there was story in there, so they built it in basically that Theo had to bring in Ryan alive to save I think his sister or something. There was a reason behind it. I know that for a fact. It's been a while since I watched the episode. Like I said, I've tried to bulk record all of these together, so I've left it probably a little bit too long to really comment about what's going on. Yeah, he's got to bring in Ryan alive because of reasons. But if they hadn't included that storyline, or if they just wanted to, I thought episode 15, the last episode ever of the following, was going to start with Ryan Hardy getting killed. And I was going to be like, holy shit. If they killed off Ryan Hardy and Theo had gone off into the distance as like a conquering hero of Ryan Hardy and just gone on to live a better life away from everything that had happened and like got away with all the crimes he'd committed, I'd have been like, brilliant. Brilliant way to end it. I'd have probably afterwards thought about it and been like, I'm really angry about this. They shouldn't have ended it like that. But at the time, that would have been such a brilliant ending. I would have been happy with that. I'd have been absolutely fine with that ending. I'm probably the only one with that feeling, but I would have been pretty happy with that ending. Theo was a badass in this season. Like, his character and the things he did to his own family and the way he'd like killed people was crazy. I know this wasn't Theo, but the person that folded people up and put them in a box was disgusting. Even Mike hasn't watched it yet, but he said he watched first couple of episodes, and when he saw that, he was so grossed out by it, he turned it off for a bit. He was like, this is disgusting. I was like, I know exactly where you're coming from. I couldn't believe it. Such a cool character. As horrible as this sounds, like the actual serial killers in this were really cool and really well thought out, and they were really interesting in the end. If you can't tell, I'm filming this by candlelight. So every time I go past the light, it sort of goes dark on my face. But like, they're such they've really put some thought and effort into these serial killers and really trying to make them stand out from just, oh, this person just kills people. Like, they've got cults, they fold people up in boxes. It's someone that's been training serial killers for years. Oh, it's just, I love everything about this show. The whole fact that Ryan doesn't die at the end of it, I wasn't fussed about. And I understood the whole motive of the fact that he has to leave his actual life behind. He has to become his own man and leave everyone behind. His girlfriend / fiance possibly that's pregnant with his baby, Max and her love interest that I forgot the name of. that will come to me as soon as I finish recording this. Like, he had to leave, he had to cut all those people out of his life because he's so obsessed and he's so self-obsessed and he's so driven by everything that he's doing and everything that he's done in the past. He can't leave that behind. He can't stop being Ryan Hardy. He can't be anything else. So he leaves everyone behind to sort of carry on that legacy. And I enjoyed that, and I think that was a fitting end. If they weren't going to kill him off, that was a fitting end. It was better than the Dexter ending, I'll give it that. Yeah, I really enjoyed this show. I enjoyed rewatching the episodes I'd seen. I enjoyed watching it all the way to the end, and I can see myself at some point rewatching all 3 seasons again. If you've never watched the following, Kevin Bacon is brilliant in this. James Purefoy is brilliant in this. Everyone is brilliant in this show. But for Kevin Bacon, like I said in one of the reviews, from someone that I just knew as someone that did The Invisible Man show, the film, and I can't remember the name of that, if it wasn't called The Invisible Man, which I'm pretty sure it wasn't now I'm thinking about it. And the man from the EE adverts and Tremors and stuff like that. To go from that to this, like, without really associating it and just thinking of him as that sort of actor, brilliant, absolutely brilliant in this show. I wish I'd watched it more when it first came out, so I could be more swept up in the fan service of it all and things. Like, I know they did Comic-Cons and stuff. That would have been brilliant to watch at the time of the show being recorded. If you've not seen it, definitely give this show a chance. I hope you enjoyed this review. I'm going to stop talking now. I've done this for like a solid 40 minutes now, I think. I hope you've enjoyed this review, and I'll see you again in whatever is next, because I don't know what is next on my list of TV shows to watch.